Yes, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ms. Eves for Penn Workman Houses, now under Stanley Avenue Preservations. We have gone into the PACT-RAD conversion, and this PACT-RAD conversion is nothing but white-collar crime at its finest. Our rights were being taken away. We're under dictatorship. We have no right to speak. We have so many illegal break ins, lockout, lack of security. The materials that they stated that they received the fundings from was scaled back a lot. Things that was promised was not given. Still broken elevators, senior citizens unable to get in their apartments. They're downstairs in the lobby for hours and hours at a time where they have to go to other friends' homes. They did not include any of the seniors and people who are handicapped in a lot of the things. Quality of life has gone out the window. Everything that they're saying that they're looking to do to help the residents, know what they're doing is looking to remove us. We right now under the PAC RAD conversion, we have more evictions at a higher rate, more tenants going to court without legal representation. They state if it because it's landlord and tenant court that you do not have the right to have legal representation, and it's wrong because a lot of the things that were said were misleading to the fullest, to the point that they can communicate what they want to communicate, but if a lot of the people doesn't comprehend what's going on, they're being evicted. There are more people under the PAC-RAD conversion have been homeless and evicted where tenants were not even having a parking ticket. So far, my family per se has been harassed because we stood up for our rights. And myself, my aunt, my daughter, we have been to the court so many times to the point that 141 Livingston Street, because I've been there so much since 2022 till present. They thought that I worked there, and they just discovered this year that I am not an employee. That's how many times that I'm there. Social services does not help. None of the tenants. It's myself that helps the tenants to court, and it's wrong what they're doing. Nothing is fixed. Everything is broken. The elevators, mold, all of the above. No security. Security is only for the staff. Out of 22 buildings, we have only 3 securities in the daytime, 3 securities at night. But for CNC management, they have security for themselves, walking them where they need to walk. And it's wrong. What they're doing is wrong, and they don't like when you stand up and you fight for your rights. And I'm still going to continue to fight because once they receive this contract from the PAC and RAD, everything goes out the window because they are conducting recertifications for the tenants, and management should not, private management should not be conducting recertification for tenants under the PAC and the RAD. Tenants have lost their Section 8s with no notification stating the reason why that they lost their Section 8. All they're doing is prepping everybody to receive a one-shot deal and still looking forward, as they stated at closing, that for them to recoup what they said to receive back. All of this is nothing, like I said, but a white collar scam fraud going on, and who are the victims are the tenants.
Good day to all. What I would like to know is now that I was relocated and I live in the Fulton houses, I do not have any intentions of moving back to Chelsea. Most importantly, I also want to make sure that my living in Fulton houses is reassured, is a secure place, and that I hope I wouldn't experience a stressful, forceful move against our own will. But now I'm experiencing an unexpected issue living in Fulton houses that I don't understand having put here by NYCH resident. I've been charged rent, not the same rent when I was living before. The rent had grown with months to 2,000 US dollars. I had spoken upon and by board, and I was ignored by them. I do not need for my credit record to look bad. In housing paying for my rent. Every time is a different amount increasing. When I have asked other tenants or prior tenants, either moving had changed the rent or had responded negative, that they still had to pay what they always pay in Chelsea addition. So why is I had this problem had not been corrected? I feel I've been charged of the moving what the prior tenants or the tenants before her who had lived in the apartment before me had to pay when they were there. So who's going to clear this ugly situation or this payment that's being charged is not me. Who's going to clear the situation? This is a new, a stressful situation, and it's also giving me a lot of anxiety. I used to have two boxes for cups and also a stroller. They were very big ones, and they belonged to me. And basically, they disappear from my apartment. Many broken items, and I'm not getting paid for that. Many
My name is Anna Luft, and I'm the Associate Director for Housing Policy and Advocacy at the New York Legal Assistance Group. I also lead our Public Housing Justice Project. It is the first team of legal advocates in New York City solely dedicated to representing public housing residents through the Right to Counsel program. We represent tenants in Section 9 and tenants in RAD PACT developments through Right to Counsel and through community clinics. For this reason, I think I have particular insight into the differences in the rights and protections that tenants experience in PACT and in Section 9. The city may need PACT for fiscal stability. That is clear from the earlier testimony that is their position. They need PACT for fiscal stability. But tenants living in these developments deserve stability as well. Year after year, PACT landlords evict a larger percentage of residents than NYCHA. As any PACT tenant can tell you, and as many have already testified today, this is not because PACT developers are better managers. It is because of NYCHA's complete failure to create any actionable procedural rights or protections for PACT tenants, and then that leaves them without meaningful tools to solve problems or defend their tenancies. As an example, PACT tenants have the fewest succession rights out of any regulated housing in New York City, including Section 9, Rent Stable, Mitchell-Lama, Project-Based Section 8, etc. Practically speaking, this means that when the tenant of record dies, unless everything has gone perfectly up until that moment, remaining family members have no meaningful ability to fight for their home. Similarly, PACT tenants are regularly forced to settle non-pays for more than their fair share of rent, in violation of the Brooke Amendment, because of NYCHA's delays in processing rent grievances or interim recertifications. Unlike Section 9, PACT provides no protections for tenants while rent adjustments are pending. NYCHA can't evict somebody while that's pending. PACT landlords can. PACT is incredibly unpopular among tenants. As the city moves forward with these conversions, NYCHA must be required to create real parity between PACT and Section 9 tenant rights.
Boulevard Houses construction is one of the worst that I've ever seen. The material that was used in our development all seems to be flammable. Front doors, floors, the paint jobs were done with plaster paint instead of semi-gloss paint. The apartment is already falling apart. My apartment has already failed inspection from after being redone completely since December. NYCHA came and did an inspection. But I tell you one thing is true, and I listened to everybody and the questions that was going on today. It's hard to reach NYCHA. It's hard to reach anybody in this RAD PACT program that can give you any kind of assistance, even on the weekends when we have emergencies out here um, in the district between Penn, Workman, Linden, and Boulevard. There was no support system for us to call on the weekend. No support system. I don't feel that I feel like I'm being invaded by Section 8. I was threatened to go on Section 8. If I didn't go on Section 8, because I've always been a Section 9 resident, if I didn't go on Section 8 when this RAD PACT program came out, I was being threatened to be evicted. And my mother too, who's been out here for 52 years. We've all been out here since 1972. So I will continue to support whatever fight that we have to fight with my councilman and whatever other my assemblywoman and whoever else, within my district. But we really need to have an option to go back to Section 9. And we really need to have the PACT program, and the management team of PRC and Boulevard Houses has to be removed.
Hi, my name is Jeannie Lopez, 3555 Bavona Street, Austin Sequel in the Bronx, and I advocate for Safe Section 9. I've lived in this building for over 19 years, and what once was my home now feels like a place I'm being forced out of little by little. The RAD and PACT program was presented as a solution, but instead has become a nightmare. I'm expected to sign a lease under confusing terms while being harassed for rent and withheld the voucher until I do so, with exaggerated rent arrears and random fees that seem to be out of nowhere. HRA does not recognize any of these private companies, so how will I get the rent help once I do sign? Every month feels like a new rule being thrown at us, making eviction an ever-present threat. It feels like they're setting us up to fail and fall behind just enough to justify them of us pushing us out. I fear my future here. NYCHA needs to stop lying. On oath, no less, is diabolical. I agree. I never agreed to this process, and I certainly never voted for it. We were told that it's just a survey, only to find out later it was being used as a vote without full understanding or consent. Meanwhile, construction is being done all around us with carelessness, leaving behind dust, toxic fumes, debris that has taken a serious toll on my health. I wake up with headache, nosebleeds, covered in dust. My breathing, clearly as y'all hear, is affected. I'm stressed out, and it's making my mental health spiral. The anxiety of not knowing if I will be able to afford to stay in my home and dealing with unanswered questions, unfulfilled promises, and threats of eviction is an ongoing battle. It's a fight for survival in a place that's supposed to be my safe haven. The passing of my late mother has affected me, and on top of grieving, now I'm being forced into uncertainty about my future.